Hi all, it's Kylie from Kylie's Card Craft. Thanks for joining me today. Wanted to show you a few pockets and tags today. Came up with a couple of different ones. This was the little one that I mainly wanted to show, that I was originally working on, and then started with an easier one so that we could work up to it. But in working with my easier one, I did a tag, and so my tutorial slightly changed, and I still want to do the pockets with you, but what I want to do as well is the tag with the Tim Holtz products. So without further ado, we'll get on to it. I'm hoping it's not going to be too long. I'll stop rambling. So we're still going to start with our first one, which is just a basic doily fold. So I've got a doily here. I don't know how big it is. What would it be? It's about a 6-inch doily. Doilies will come in all sorts of different sizes, so depending on the size of your doily will depend on the size that your pocket comes out. And you can do it in all the big ones and nice little small ones. I had one ages ago which was a smaller doily. So, you know, you can see you can do them in smaller sizes as well. This one has just been coffee dyed, but you'll see that it's darker on the inside than the right side. So we're still going to use that as our outside, but you'll get this nice look on the inside once you take out your tag. Easiest way to do these is to sit these on your grid. If you've got a grid, it's always wise to work, whether it's a normal craft mat or one of the glass Tim Holtz mats, makes no difference, but it's always easier to work on a grid. Find your center point. So I'm going off this one and this one. So I've got 1, 2, 3 inches either side, goes a little bit over those 3 inches, and I'm going from my center point up 3, down 3. So that's round about the centre. It doesn't have to be perfect, just round about the centre. What we want to do is fold either left or right into around about that centre line, going straight down. And again, you can use your grid so that you can see that you've got your lines straight. Bringing this one over so that he lines up with that one. If your hands are working, they can touch, they can not touch depending on how wide you want it. And again, I want it so that it's straight. So we'll go over that way. Give them a little bit of a, that's what I'm looking for, my bone folder. Just a little bit. You don't want to go too heavy because you'll rip your doily. Especially if they've been dyed, they tend to become even flimsier. And then all it is lifting this centre part up to the size you want your pocket. Making him, so you can see mine's not straight. Awesome. Even though I've used my grid. Just shows maybe you don't need a grid. There you go. Right. There's our pocket. Nice and easy. Okay. What we're going to do is make a tag to go in this pocket, and then we'll decorate the whole thing. Now your pockets can either be adhered down or left as they are, which, you know, you can put little journal spots down there as well. I tend to adhere mine down so that they're all stuck down and fully pocketed. There's a word for you. Right, so I'm just going to set this one aside. I've got a tag shape here. I have a container of tag bases. Now, these are ones that I've used, old scrapbook papers, 6.5-inch paper pads, where I know that I'm not going to use the side that they actually are, and so I've attached two together and glued two together. Makes for a nice hard substrate, and it means that I'll actually use those papers. So they've just been two papers glued together. Trimmed off a little bit from their original length. Check that it's going to be the right size. So that one fits in there beautifully and about the height that I want. I'm just going to move this so I don't get anything on it. Move some of these stamps that I've got sitting around and pens and bits and pieces. Now, what I'm going to use, I could use a normal tea mixture and brush it on, but I'm actually going to use the Distress sprays. Well, these are a stain, same thing. It's just been put into a spray bottle. So again, I've got my glass mat, so it's easy clean up. I don't have paper towel. I do this every time, don't I? 5 seconds. Now I've got paper towel. I need paper towel to clean up with. So I'll just set that to the side of me. Move those girls. Right, so just a spray. And then I will use my brush just to get a good finish on it, because with this I just want it as a background. I don't necessarily want the variegated look that a spray might give me. Okay, one side. Do want a little bit down there where I've missed. Okay, so I'll clean that bit up. I could lay the back onto that and pick up all the ink that's sitting there, but I don't want it too blotchy, because I'll use my back as my journaling, and I don't use white, so I'm going to do the back as well. Right, and then I can brush it back on. So it's slightly darker than a normal tea mixture when you're using the sprays and the stains, but I still quite like it because they give me a different look again. So I'll wipe that. Oh, sorry, that's a shocking noise, isn't it? Right, just to clean that all up a little bit. Now, that's still quite wet, so I'm just going to use my heat gun. Sorry about the noise. And I'll just give it a slight drying. I am using the sprays for a couple of reasons. One, it's nice and quick, and two, I like the colour of the spray over normal tea dye. What I want to do though is I want the effect of the sprays. So I quite like this section here that's gone a little bit darker. What I want to do now, tea dye was the one I just used. I want to go to a vintage photo in the Distress sprays. But what I'm going to do this time is just flick it. So I want some blots on it. It just gives it a different background. Now you can go big ones, little ones, whatever takes your fancy. Right, I'll do that up, otherwise I tip them over and then I'm in all sorts of trouble. So I'm going to dry that again. I just want to make them run a little bit if they will. See, they're already starting to sink through, so I'll lift that up so you can see where they're starting to go through already, not onto that side because it's the two pieces joined together, so it gives it a thicker look. If I'd used just one piece of paper or lightweight cardstock, it would have seeped all the way through onto that side. What I also want to do is get a fresh piece of paper towel. Because I've used the sprays or the stains, whatever you want to call them, they react with water because they're the Distress inks. So once again, this is just water. And I can now flick it with my water. I don't want to spray because I don't want too many small ones. I just want larger dots. And from that, because that'll lift the colour again. So now if I start to do this, so I'm just picking it up with a piece of paper towel, but I'm not wiping over it, I'm just lightly blotting it. So that what I've got now is that sort of look. So I can look at that now and go, I like that, and I do, but I'd like a few more down this way. So I'll just put a little bit more water on that. And then I'll blot those ones dry. Okay, so now I've got quite a few more blots where it's actually picked up the ink and taken it back off the paper. That's why I tend to use the tea stain in the sprays. Quite often I'll just use a normal tea mixture. I just have a little glass bowl, bag of tea in it, and I use this brush and I'll dip it in. But for something like this, just to give me a different background, I will actually go with the sprays. Now, I ink everything, as you know, so into my walnut stain, and I'll just go round the edges. And actually, I want to round those, so I'll do that before I ink. I find that when I'm doing the doily pockets, if they're rounded on the bottom, they're a softer edge and they don't catch on the doily, especially ones like this that have got lots of little bits of holes and everything else. The last thing you want is for the sharp edge on the corner as you're putting your tag in to grab hold of that doily and actually rip it. So that's why I tend to round my corners. And because this one would be a journaling tag, I will ink the back as well. And I've made myself on the back just a plain area to journaling. So very quickly just go around that so that I know that it's done. Now this is still quite damp, you know. It's dry to touch, but it's still pliable. So I can either dry that completely with my heat gun, but because there's other things I want to do, I'm just going to sit it to the side and let it dry naturally. Probably won't today. It's a bit chilly here. It's getting late in the afternoon and I haven't turned the heater on yet. So I probably should have done that before I came in. Right, what I want to do is with the Tim Holtz people. So like I did with this one, so you can see, I'm hoping you can see, she's got a glaze on her. Am I in shot? Yes, I am. What this is the embossing glazes. They're embossing powders. If you've used embossing powders before, they work the same, technically. They're a very fine powder, though. Powders you'll get in different grades, I suppose. These ones are a very fine powder. They emboss beautifully because they are that fine powder, and I love this Tattered Rose. Now, on the darker clothing, it just really gives just a soft tint and gives this really nice glaze to it. So I want to do these girls as well, but I'm only going to do one. So I've got one with a slightly pink tinged glaze dress and one in her normal dress. So makes no difference. I'll do this one because I'm a righty. Now, when you're doing something like this, if you're normally embossing and you're embossing a stamped image or you want to make marks on your background, an ink pad is fine. Or Tim's also got out, like his stains, because this is a stain that I haven't put in a bottle yet. He has his embossing ink in like a sponge top. For smaller work like this, you need to be able to get into just areas. The Versamark pens work a treat. Absolutely fantastic. And I can't find mine. I know it's here somewhere. They're black, so you'd think it'd be easy to find. I do have an Emboss dual pen. Now, Tusanako, I think is how you pronounce it, bought these out years ago, and I'm not quite certain whether they're even still available anymore. But the Versamark pens I know are available, and they work just as well, if not better. They're also clear. This one has a slight blue tinge when it's going on. It doesn't affect the embossing powder, but I don't think it also covers quite as well as the Versamark one. So if you're doing this for the first time, you're far better off to get a Versamark pen. So I'm going to do this lady, but I'm going to do her in 2 sections again because this pen will probably dry a bit quicker. So I just want to follow her dress, and I'm just going to follow around. Now, I don't know if you can see, hang on. I don't know if you can see where I'm doing that. You can see where it doesn't quite cover with this pen, unfortunately. The Versamark ones work so much better, but needs must, and I can't find my Versamark one, so that's already dried off. That goes up there, right to the edge, down to that, and then I can do this bottom section afterwards so that I'm not leaving too much to dry out all at once. Right, so that's one bit. I'll just cap that. All right, some glaze, scrap piece of paper, just with a little bit tipped in it so that I can tip it back in. And I always just sit those back in there. All right. You probably don't need that much on there, but let's face it, it goes back in the container. Give him a tap, turn it over, give it a tap. You can see where it's now stuck onto. I have a tendency, now I could have used an anti-static pad, but I find for this it's just as easy with a small paintbrush just to get the excess off. Some of them don't cling, some of them do. I think it just depends on how much you've handled them. So if you've just pulled them straight out of the packet and haven't handled them, they're going to be fine. Mine tend to be well handled because I'm usually picking through, working out which ones I want, putting it back, going to another one. Once you've got that embossing glaze on there, you're right, you've got time to, come back to it. You can go answer the phone, go answer the door handle. Probably don't go back the next week, but, you've got a little bit of time. So if I tilt that, I can see where I've got extra powder sitting. And across there. Down there. But yeah, if you'd used an anti-static pad, or if I'd used an anti-static pad, this would have been so much quicker. And I might pull it out for the bottom part, I'm thinking, because, yeah, she's quite staticky. And the last thing you want is little bits of powder stuck all over the bits that you don't want. Right. Put your powder away, your spare powder away, if you're heating on the same area that you're working. Okay? Don't leave it there, otherwise you'll have a big glob. And again, do it up if you're like me and you tend to tip things. Right, so sorry for the noise again. Heat gun out. Now, most times we'll do that sort of thing, and quite often you'll find your paper curl. If you can hold your paper up a little bit without getting burnt, it won't curl as much. So, hopefully you can see that. I'm hoping you can, there it goes. Can you see it actually happening? I'm hoping I had that in the right spot so you could actually see it happening. So we've started to make her dress a different tint. So hang on, I'll grab my anti-static pad. And this time I'll wipe. All it is a powder-filled pad. Right. So I want the bottom of her dress. I'll just give that lady a bit of a oomph as well. And we'll go again. I've got her legs, got her hand. Now I just want to go in those ruffles. It's a bit like colouring in. You can hear my pen going on there, so I can go in each of those ruffles. And I can also see where this pin's not actually going on. Up there, and do a little bit of her fingers now. Right, so where do I want to go? I want her bow. Follow her hand down. Where's her hand go? Right, back quickly over that bit. I can see this pen drying as I'm doing this. I know I'll find my Versamark one. Oh, within hours of me finishing this. It's just what it is. Right. So back over here. Back into this one. Give her a tap again. You're not going to knock it off. What's there is the ear. You can see there's no extra little bits of powder that I have to clean up or anything else because I've used the anti-static pad this time. So it just makes the whole purpose a lot quicker. But it shows that, you know, you don't necessarily have to have all the gizmos and all the rest. If you don't have an anti-static pad, that's fine. You just use a little paintbrush and wipe them away. Right, so now we'll do her dress. So, sorry about the noise again. Hang on, I'm going to move that drawer. I'm hooked up. There we go. That's better. Right, so if I hold her up, hopefully you can see her go. There it goes. Just the most amazing thing. Okay. It's one of those things. I've been embossing for 20 odd years and I still love watching it actually go. So now we've got two different coloured dresses there. I could put another colour on that dress or whatever else, but for the purpose of this tutorial, I just mainly want to show you how you could change the look of some of the little Tim Holtz peoples. Right, so back to our tag. A little bit damp, we'll give it a quick zap. Turn it over so that you're going both sides. Right, so there's my tag, there's my girls. Now, I put stamps, because I've got a couple of stamps that I want to use on this. Some Tim Holtz one and a clear one that I don't know whose it is. Could be Kaiser Craft, but I'm not quite certain. And it just says, true friendship is seen through the heart, not through the eyes. Because I think that works well with these girls. And I want that up here. So it's at this stage what I tend to do is I'll sit my bits down. So I've set my ladies down. I want them about there. See, they were girls a while ago. Now they're ladies. I want that going as a background behind them all the way through. And I want this one down here. So what I'm going to start off with is this one, because then I can work out again where my girls, ladies, whatever they are. So put my stamping pad down and I'm going to stamp in black. So I've used all my browns, my tea dyes, etc. here, but I want them to stand out. So I'm actually using black. Now I will use the Ranger archival ink because it's nice and crisp. Use my stamping block. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. When I want words like this that are nice and crisp, I want them on the stamping block. Actually, what I want to do with that, I want to play and have a look. I've got just some craft paper. I want to see if it'll fit up there first. So we'll play. I don't know whether that'll work or not, but it's always worth a try. Because I also like tearing. I love tearing. And it just gives it a little bit of difference. So it makes no difference how straight or anything else this is because I'm going to tear around it. Well, I've got that out, that's sitting there. Put my photographs on there, just that one. And I want that to sit kind of that way. So if I tilt you that way, then I can do it like that, can't I? I know they all fit because I've just done a dry run with them. So that's going to be running behind my girls. You'll see a little bit of it, but not all of it. Like so, that worked nicely. And I want my address, which is 68 Market Street. Now all these are off a couple of different Tim Holtz stamp sets. Now because they're not necessarily straight, and I want it straight down the bottom, and you can't quite always tell from the, concentrating, you can't always tell with your wording on the top. So I'll always turn them around. I've got my block has a grid line in it. I like my grids. And what I'm doing is just checking that my wording runs across one of those lines. Fairly certain it does, but we'll soon find out. Awesome. And that's why my mat is always dirty. Right, so we'll ink that one up. Just tap across. Remember, don't swipe backwards and forwards. All you do is fill up all the fine detail on your stamp. I'm going up a little bit from where I've rounded the corners because otherwise I'll lose a bit of it. Yep, that fitted beautifully, like that. All right, set that one back in there. My girls are going to go in here. And what did I say about this? Let's have a look. So if I tear this, and it's just a thin craft paper that I've got on a roll, so it tears really, really easy. And then I can tear it down if I need to make it a smaller size. That side might need going down a little bit. Let's have a look. How's that? That works. Right. So, just very quickly ink around that. Again, in my walnut stain, just to make it pop off the page a little bit. Or a lot. All right. As quick as that. Okay, so we'll stick that one down, and I can just use glue stick for that one. Find my little gluey book, which is this bit. Grab a glue stick. I'm just using my Bostik blue glue. All right. And I want that as close to the top as I can get, round about even. So I'm not putting a ribbon topper on this one. It's just going to be straight tag. So we've got that. We've got our girls in like so. I'll stick those down, but I'm actually, because they're a little bit harder in, they're not the chipboard ones. You can get the chipboard ones. These are not the chipboard ones. They're just a paper one, but a more solid cardstock. So I'm actually going to use my white glue. And, you know, I have glues on the go, left, right, and centre. So my main ones that I use are my white glue, which is just a wet white glue. It's an Express It brand, and I fill it up into my little bottle, going around all those bits. I have my glue stick, and then if I'm doing lace or fabric or something like that, I'll have my Helmars 450. Just a little bit down there as well. Put the lid back on that one, and then I'll adhere these girls to my tag. So just quick and easy. You can do lots more with them. You can have little tucks in them and all the rest. Where's my other one? Right, so with this one, while I'm pushing them down, I've put a little bit of loose woven hessian under here, a little piece from one of Tim Holtz field notes, and just a label which was just a paper. It was a digital from someone's kit note. Sorry, I can't remember whose it was. So sorry. And I've stuck that on a piece of chipboard and layered it up. Right, so there's our tag with our girls in it. There's our pocket, so that once it sits in there, here we are like this. If we want something on the front of our tag and of our pocket, and decorate up the front of our pocket, I also want, and I love the coffee stain because it gives it this slight edge, but sometimes I want more. So I'm just going to rough this up a little bit with my ink, and down the sides where it's folded, just to make it look a little bit more worn. Now, I would attach these to my page. By all means, you could have the whole thing in another pocket and use the whole thing as a tuck with your tag in it as well. I tend to adhere these to a page so that they are my tucks. They are my pockets, sorry. So, but it's your choice of how you want them finished off. So if you've got them so that they're not necessarily a pocket themselves, but they're a pocket in a pocket, and you take them out, then it might be nice to put something on the back as well. So just a little bit in like that. Just like that. Well, that's not the lid to the ink, that's the lid to the glue. All right, so there's my very skew width pocket now. So I want to adhere all that together so that it's just the one little pocket, just making one. You can make them so that you've got extra bits in there as well. And I find with mine, because my doilies are all very lacy and all the rest, I don't like white glue, my wet glue, too much on them. So I tend to use my double-sided tape. Oh, I keep hitting that light, sorry. And I just use the little 3mm. So what I'm going to do, it doesn't need much, is I'm going to put a little bit up here. This is all being covered up because I can't see through it from that side. You don't want it going through the holes because otherwise it makes it sticky in your book. And a little bit up this side, and that one's looking fine, and I know I've got a solid piece here. If you want, you can also stick down the centre part. Look, it's personal choice on what it is that you're after. So folding him over. Right. And there's your little pocket. And there's my tag, finished tag in my pocket. So with this one, I'll bring him back over. I've then put a die cut on the front. Some of those little hessian pieces that fell off that I've tucked out, and I've put a stamped image in here. So let's just grab another Timmy stamp. Let's go something like that. Okay, so again, we'll just stamp it on that craft. Keep that image going. I want my stamping block, my black ink, because I've done the rest in black ink, so I will do this one in black ink as well. Don't care if it's not straight because I'm going to trim it out. Okay. Right, that's that one, that's that one, that's that one. And I'll just get my scissors, and I'll use my big scissors because I get a straighter line with my big scissors. And I'll give it just a little bit of an edge. Take that out so that I can get to it. Because this is on the roll, it actually wants to curl on me. So, but for small bits, it'll flatten back out. Right, so there's my piece. Give him an ink because that's what I do. And I want something to back it onto that's going to highlight from the front of that doily. So what could we use? What have I got sitting around? Got to have something sitting around, surely. Because at the moment, that just kind of blurs in there. Or it does for me, anyway. So let's have a look and see. Oh. Nope. Nope, 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 nope. There's black there. I wonder what the black would look like on it. What did I do with them? It's here. I'll just try that one. Got my gluey book. Right. I'll put it on the black and then I'll trim around the black again with a bit of a border, and we might just sit something underneath it. And then we'll get onto the next one to show you a different little tuck. You can tell that wasn't straight. So much for my big scissors making straight edges. Alright. Okay. Right. So I want that one in there, but I want something just a little bit behind it. What have I got? Let's go to the fabric drawer. No, it fades. It fades away. What about some normal Hessian? What do you reckon? So I'll cut that larger. I might just take a few strands out. And these are the bits that the sort of bits that I'll keep, God forbid. And how's that? I like that. Right, so what I want is my fabric glue. And this is, when it's cold, it doesn't like running properly. And I haven't used it today, so we'll just warm it up a little bit. Come on. That'll teach me. I knew it was getting low. I do have another one. But it's not within reach. Of course it's not within reach. It's never within reach. Here we go, here we go, here we go. There it is. All right. Put a big dollop on there. It's stringy. Okay. Yeah. And again, go on the other side. Now I could have just got away with double-sided tape, but I would have used a bigger one, not that little 3mm, and my bigger one I think is sitting under a pile of scrap in a box to the side of me. So that would be just an expedition in itself trying to find it. So I need to go lower because I don't want to go through too much of that. Right. Oh, sorry, that's my grandfather clock going. I try and arrange myself these days so that I go between the hours. So anyone that counted that, it's 5 o'clock. So you can see that I'm late. I normally do these videos of a morning. Right. Beautiful. Right, so there's tag number 1. Tag number 2. What I want to do, similar sort of thing. If I can find my prototype, just do the glues up. If I can find my prototype, I'll show you what we're going to do. Here we go. Right, so it's a similar thing to our doily one, but just taken a step further. Now, again, you can do any size circle that you want. This one was a 3.5 inch circle, so we'll just do this one again. What I like to do, when you fold things up, let's just, I've got a piece of book paper here somewhere, surely. Right, so here's a piece of book, come out, book page. So let's say I cut my circle out of that, folded it up, and we've all done it before, and our words are then going the wrong way. Might not worry you. Sometimes it doesn't worry me. Sometimes it really bugs me. So what I'll do is then stick 2 pages together. Grab another one of these. Just one, Kylie, will be fine. Right. So best way to do it, one upside down, one the right way up, so that when you turn it up, you're the right way up. So it's when we're making our book page pockets and all the rest. But then you're using 2 book pages at a time, and you might not want them that thick. Mind you, we've all got lots and lots of book pages. It's not going to hurt to do 2 at a time. What I tend to do, though, is, oh, there's my glue book, set you up there, is I will photocopy my book page and then run it back through the other way. So it comes out like that, okay? I then sit that page back in so that it comes out the other way. So one side is up the right way, one side is round the wrong way. But it means that when I cut something out or tear around it, I've then got my words going the right way up. That's what I did for this music note one, and that's what I was just looking for, and I don't know what I've done with it. I had it sitting here. Nope, it's gone. I reckon I've, oh, I know. No, music paper, script paper. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Sheet music. Whoops. All right. Sit you down there. So you can see one way is up one way, and then we're up the other way. Just means that you get your wording up the right way or your sheet music up the right way without it getting too thick. So I just want a 3.5 inch circle out of this. There's lots of different ways to do circles. There's punches, there's finding a shape and tracing around it and all the rest. There's dies. It's up to you. I find if I'm just going for a straight circle, it's the old Fiskars circle cutting system that they used to have. Just check what's on the other side of that. We might go in the middle. And I'll just trace around it and cut them out. I'm not too concerned about saving the rest of this. I'll use it for other bits and pieces. I've, what was I going to say? I'm not too concerned about cutting it too straight. I will use my big scissors, and I'm turning my paper as my scissors cut. But because I ink my edges, it takes the eye away from where it might not be perfectly curved. And that's another reason why I started inking many moons ago, because my cutting might not have been straight, my circles might not have been circled, you know, those sorts of things. And it takes the eye away from it. Right, and background. Sit you there, and ink. So if I just do this now, because the ink is smaller in areas, thicker in areas, it takes the eye away from the fact that this circle might not have been an absolutely perfect spot-on circle. And again, I will ink both sides because I'm turning this over and around. Right. So, same sort of thing as before. What we're going to do with this one though, instead of going in our half bits, we're going to go into a V. Now, I find I've got a little ruler. A little ruler is easier. Again, I will use my grid so that I can see my circle is evened. I'm going there, I'm going there. That's all about evened. And there, I found about 1/2 inch down was about what I wanted for these. So I go about 1/2 inch down and down to my centre point and give it a crease. Right, back over to this side, 1/2 inch down and back into my centre point and give it a crease. Now you can do these all sorts of different sizes. One I was playing with the other night, and it's not gone straight, but I was just getting the gist of it. And so that it's a lot wider at the top, but it's shallower. So depending on what sort of thing you're after. So now I've got those creases there. They will fold over. I can use my bone scorer just to fully put them down. Now the other thing I found was doing it this way. These go past that crease line. They will just fold back over and I can crease them back over, but I didn't like the thickness in there. So all I did was I just cut those bits off, like so. Okay, so then they run up the crease line. This one's a little bit over. I'll cut him off. You don't see them. So it's just that, so that they all stay tucked in there nicely. Sitting that back on my grid again so that I've got my halfway point, I'm going to take this point up to the top of here. Again, because I'm using my grid, hopefully this will be nice and straight. Down, and then this little bit will just tuck in there. Push him down, kind of like a nappy. All right, give him a little bit of a crease. That's all it is. Now that I've got all that, I can pull it all back out and re-ink where my creases are. Because I like inking, I like to see where my creases are. They define my points. I've got that bit. Again, if you're doing it as a tuck in a pocket, you might want to ink the other side as well. Right. How quick and easy is that? Just tucks under there. Now you could adhere that down if you wanted to. Mine's not. My other one's not. Just tucks in. There's our little tuck. Our little pocket, sorry. Blur. There's our little pocket. So let's just make a very quick little tag for this one. Again, I use old tags that I know I'm not going to use. So because it's white, it's a completely different white. I'm just going to use a little bit of antique linen and just go in the edges because I'm going to cover the rest anyway, but just those edge bits need to be a better colour to go with that. And I will do the backing as well, so that it's not just a straight white back, so that you can still journal on it. I like lots of little journal spots, and it's given it a better colour for me. Okay, there's nothing wrong with white. Don't think that I'm thinking anything's wrong with white. I just don't work in white. I love white. Oh, and there's some beautiful work out there that's all done in those monotones and in whites and blacks and all that, and I love them. I just can't. I can't do them. I keep looking at it thinking I'm going to do a black and white album. Really want to do a real black and white, stark black. But yeah, no. Okay, I'll start it, pick it up, and before I know it, I've started to go back to my normal colours. Right, so I've got another book page here. This one's just a normal book page. I've just trimmed off the edges, but it's slightly smaller font than this one. So I want a piece of this on the front of my tag. So I'll just tear a bit up there, tear a bit up there. Let's even try straight. Tear a bit more. Try and go straight this time without thinking, because I want to cover that wording. Like so. So I want to go up kind of in the A. Right. And up to there, and from there I can make them just the right size. Right. Down. I shouldn't do it this side because I've got no nail here, and all it does is hurts my thumb. Lovely. Going along there. I'm going to go down a little bit so that I can still see this section, the hole in the top of my tag. Even that up a little bit, like so. Take that T off. Oh, can't do it on that one. Right, so again, I just ink around him just to make it pop off the page a little bit. Oh, I think my hair's up, guys. Sorry. Very quickly do a tag. What do I do with my ink book? There, my glue book. Right. Glue stick. Nice and quick. Stitch it there. Go that way. Down there. Up there. So what I've done is covered the wording that was already on that pre-made tag, and it was just a tag that was out of, I don't know, an ephemera pack or a paper pad or something like that. All right. So what we're doing is matching it all in so that it's all matchy-matchy. Matchy-matchy? You know what I mean. Right, let's find... does that fit? Yeah, I want to actually stamp that just straight onto that. See what that looks like. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Put that there. Oh, nice. Nice. And I want something in there. Let's have a look. What's that one? Are you the same size as that? Yes, you are. How about we do that? Let's do that. Let's go back to that lovely craft colour. No, I want it slightly heavier. So let's find a bit of craft card. Right, not quite as heavy as normal card, but so we'll give that, because this one's a solid stamp, so it's got lots of solid area. What'll happen is that you'll quite often get air bubbles as you go down, so give it a really good coating of your ink. Hold them up this way so that you can see if you've missed anything. Sitting him in. Give him a little bit of a rock. Okay. Now what we're going to do from that is I'll use my punch. I could probably do with a smaller punch, couldn't I? Don't have a smaller one here. Oh, this is the size we've got now. Simple as that. And I'll go around that with my walnut stone. Yeah, technically it should have been a smaller punch. But would have been about a 1-inch punch, I reckon. That's about a 1 1/4. I don't have a 1-inch one sitting right beside me. That's all right. I've lost a lot of that lovely section there, so, but if I sit it up like that, you'll still see all these folds down here. I have these sitting everywhere. Is there a smaller bit? No. Love all my muslin and all the rest, so let's just go that one. Stretch him out. Put him down there like that. And in like that. In like that. How's that? How's that? Okay, and then I can tie some muslin up there. So that's a bit like that. That's a bit like that. Put a little bit down there just to adhere that on. Scrunch him up a little bit. Let's see how that's gone. Oh, my hands are getting very gluey. Right, and I want a little bit more up there. Don't want to go past about that section. Kind of looks like party favour, really, doesn't it? Oh well. Right, so let's find something to go through the hole in that one. And then we might be done. I've got bits and pieces here everywhere. How about that one? Straight through. And in. Make him more scungy. Right, how's that? Happy with that? I'm happy with those. I'll just move all this to the side. So we've got this one and this one. This one. And this one. Are they all in shot? Yep. I hope you've enjoyed these. I've enjoyed making them. I love playing with the range of products, the Tim Holtz products. There's so much you can do with them and all the rest. And his stamps, for me, just the work of treat. I've never had a problem with them. And the glaze just changes my Timmy people beautifully. So I hope you've got some tips. I hope you go away and play. And next time you're looking at the glaze and going, oh, will I use it? What would I use it for? If you've got Timmy people, my word, you'll use the glaze. Look, they come in brighter colours as well. That's cracked pistachio, nice and bright. But and it's something I use on other products, whereas all my journaling seems to be these colours. One day I'll move away from them. I did the other week with my clusters. But, I so hope you're out there and you're going to have a play. That's the best thing to do with his products. Just play with them. The more you play, the more you'll find that you'll use them and do things with them. Don't be frightened of them. There are lots of YouTube videos out there showing his products and different things to do with them and all the rest. Research them. Just play. Have fun. That's about all I can say about them. I really hope you've enjoyed this, guys. And until next time, thank you. Bye.